Conversation was quick, short, and to the point, and he always went right inside. Holidays never saw him. His mom never saw anything. No visitors.
There were a few people that called Evan polite and even a nice guy.
I had talked to just before I left. As far as I know, I was probably one of the last people to talk to him. It was just a normal, hi, how you doing, have a good weekend thing, and I left. There was absolutely no sign of anything different about him.
Because he worked out daily, Evan was muscular and stood about 6 feet tall. He always seemed to have a backpack that he carried. The night before the shooting spree, Evan made 2 separate phone calls, one to his mom and one to his ex-wife. He hadn't spoken to either in months, so this was definitely out of the ordinary. But was that enough for them to suspect him of being capable of the dastardly acts he committed? Evan's behavior and anger escalated so quickly that it is hard to say for sure. He had no social media accounts, and there is no record of him receiving mental health treatment of any kind, nor was he even evaluated for a mental health condition. At the time of the shooting, it was legal to own a silencer or suppressor on a gun, so long as it was registered.
Well, first, silencers have been known to be absolutely lethal weaponry. They were first regulated in the United States in the 1930s and are treated identically to machine guns. Silencers are used to offensively shoot and kill the enemy and to confuse them.
There's a bill in the legislature, and according to ammoland.com, if House Bill 961 becomes law, anyone who possesses a federally registered suppressor in Virginia prior to July 1st would be able to legally maintain possession of their suppressor. However, the acts of importing, selling, manufacturing, and purchasing suppressors would be prohibited for civilians after enactment.
Yeah, I think the challenge is that when you're trying to survive a deadly encounter, we know seconds count, and the use of a silencer can cost you minutes. And the reality is that typical gunfire has a very unique sound, and it sounds different than any other sound. The Virginia pilot has done some interviews with people on scene who described the shooting sounding to them like a nail gun. And so it's human nature that someone will think of something innocent to explain a sound, and that will cost you minutes. All of the training that we have now is to empower people to respond immediately. The silencer tricks people into delaying that response, and that's why this individual was able to kill 12 people.
Police conducted 757 interviews and read thousands of emails. But were there any noticeable red flags before the shooting? Could anyone have known enough to say something? And if they did, would it have helped? While we cannot answer that question, we still caution and urge our listeners that if you see, hear, or know something, say something. You never know how many lives you could be saving.
We do know who the suspect is. We will release his name once. We're going to mention his name once, and then he will be forever referred to as the suspect.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Active Shooter, the podcast. Remember, if you see something, say something. There's no telling how many lives you may be saving. A huge thank you to Darren Curtis, who composed some of the music used in this episode. Check him out at darrencurtismusic.com. DARRENCURTIS music.com.
Active shooter. Reports of an active shooter.
Active shooter with mass casualty incidents.
Make sure to check us out on social media. We have a discussion group on Facebook. Just search for Active Shooter, the podcast discussion group. You can also find us on Instagram at Active the Podcast and Twitter at Podcast Active. For just $1 a month, you can get access to ad-free episodes, early release episodes when available, and a shout-out on the show. Just go to patreon.com/Active the Podcast. Thank you, and be safe.
Hello, this is Eric Carter Lundeen, the host and producer of True Consequences, a true crime and mystery podcast with stories based in New Mexico and the American desert Southwest. We'll uncover cases such as the Toy Box Killer, one of the worst serial rapists and suspected serial killers in New Mexico's history. We will also discuss mysteries such as alien sightings, as well as hauntings and other weird things that happen in this area of the country. I hope you'll give me a chance and listen to True Consequences. I think you might enjoy it. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.